the swamp's plot to eliminate 100 members of Congress before the election. The deep state has made its most brazen move yet. With election day fast approaching, reports are surfacing that Congress is preparing for a mass casualty event, and it's not some wild conspiracy theory. They're openly discussing plans to replace over 100 members of Congress in the event they're killed before the election. Let that sink in. 100 dead members of Congress, wiped out in one fell swoop, with hand-picked successors ready to take their place. No elections, no accountability. If that doesn't scream coup, what does? You want to know who's behind this? The swamp. The deep state elites who have embedded themselves so deep in the system, they think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And now they're plotting the unthinkable, using fear, violence, and chaos to seize total control of the US government, all while pretending it's for our own safety. They've been laying the groundwork for years, but now the masks are off. They're coming for your country, and this time they're not even pretending it's about democracy. The swamp's new weapon, the 28th Amendment. Here's how they plan to do it. Congress is rushing to pass a new 28th Amendment called the Continuity Amendment that would allow them to replace members of Congress without any election in the event of a mass casualty event. That means if 100 or more lawmakers are killed in one go, the remaining swamp creatures can simply appoint their cronies to take over, bypassing the voters entirely. This amendment isn't about continuity. It's about consolidating power. It's about removing the last barrier to the deep state's total control, your vote. They want a system where if the right amount of chaos happens, they can pull the strings from behind the scenes and install whoever they want. No more pesky elections to get in the way. Just a quick, controlled replacement of Congress by the swamp itself. They're not even hiding it anymore. The Washington Post and Politico, both longtime mouthpieces of the deep state, have confirmed these plans. Congress is preparing for a mass assassination, openly talking about it like it's an inevitability. And you're supposed to believe this is normal. But what are they really preparing for? Could it be that they know something we don't? A manufactured crisis? False flag incoming? You don't just start preparing for mass political assassinations 40 days before an election without a reason. What does Congress know that we don't? Could this be a false flag operation in the making? A crisis engineered to justify a sweeping takeover? We've seen it before. The deep state thrives on chaos. 9/11, the Patriot Act, and the Forever Wars were all carefully crafted crises used to strip away freedoms and centralize power. Now they're getting ready to pull the same trick. But this time, they're targeting Congress itself. A mass assassination would allow them to declare a national emergency, invoke continuity of government, COB protocols, and ram through this 28th Amendment, locking in unelected officials to save the country from the disaster they created. It's the perfect plan. Create a crisis, offer a solution, and consolidate power in the hands of the swamp, all while silencing the people who might actually hold them accountable. Replacing democracy with tyranny. Right now, if a member of Congress dies, their seat is filled through a special election. The people vote and democracy carries on. But under the new system being proposed, no elections are necessary. Instead, members of Congress would submit a list of 5 hand-picked successors to the governor of their state. If they're killed, the governor gets to choose someone from that list to replace them. No voting involved. This is not about protecting democracy. This is about replacing democracy with tyranny. The deep state is creating a system where your voice doesn't matter, where elections can be suspended with a snap of their fingers, and where appointed stooges take the reins of power. They've already tested the waters. Look at what happened with President Biden. One day, he's running for re-election, and the next, he's quietly replaced by Kamala Harris, without a single Democratic voter having a say. It was a coup, plain and simple. And now they're gearing up for the next stage, Congress. Killing democracy to save the swamp. Make no mistake, the swamp is terrified. They know the winds of change are blowing, and they're doing everything they can to hang on to power. That's why they're willing to talk about mass assassinations of members of Congress just weeks before an election. That's why they're pushing this 28th Amendment so frantically. They need to secure their positions before the people wake up. But ask yourself, if they're so concerned about the threat of violence, why aren't they doing something about it? Why isn't there a focus on security measures or border control or the massive influx of military-aged men flooding into the country? Why isn't there more transparency about what they know? Because this isn't about security. It's about control. They're using the threat of violence as a cover for their real agenda, a silent coup. And if we don't stop them, they'll get away with it. The deep state's endgame: martial law and military rule. And here's where it gets even darker. In the event of a catastrophic attack like the mass assassination of Congress, the deep state's plan doesn't stop at just appointing replacements. Under continuity of government protocols, the country's leadership would shift to NORAD, the military. General Gregory Gallo, the commander of NORAD and Northcom, would effectively become the de facto leader of the United States. This is not some wild conspiracy theory. NORAD has openly bragged about its role in enabling continuity of government, and under COG rules, if Congress is incapacitated, military control takes over. That's not democracy, that's martial law. So ask yourself, what happens if there's a mass casualty event targeting Congress right before the election? What happens if hundreds of lawmakers are killed in a single attack? The swamp gets what it's always wanted: total control, with no more elections to get in their way, and the military running the country under the guise of continuity. The time to act is now. We're standing at the edge of a massive power grab by the deep state, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The 28th Amendment isn't about protecting the country. It's about ensuring that the swamp survives at any cost, even if it means staging a mass assassination to justify their silent coup. But here's the thing, they can only succeed if we let them. If we allow them to pass this amendment, if we allow them to stage this crisis, we will be handing over our country to the unelected elites and their military enforcers. We need to wake up, because once the swamp seizes control, they won't give it back without a fight. And by then it might be too late for democracy to survive. The swamp is planning to kill 100 members of Congress before the election. They're planning to kill democracy itself. What are you going to do about it?